Okay, first question comes from Adil Ahmed 3768, who asks, what's your take on JRPGs? Any favorites? Any games new or old that you'd like to try? Well, the short answer is I like some JRPGs. Specifically, in the early days, it was stuff like the Breath of Fire games for PlayStation 1, Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, 10 later on. Then I was also super diehard into Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud I still think is like one of the greatest, most fun things ever made. Just a really good idea for a game. JRPG mechanics aside, everything else it brought to that genre I just found really fun and addictive. But there was a lull a little bit where I stopped paying attention to them as much. I fell off a little bit. Lost Odyssey I did play and really enjoy. More recently, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 I really liked, and then 3 I got into as well. Obviously, I play all the mainline Final Fantasy games now, and I enjoy those. But in terms of your question, new or old games I'd like to try, in terms of older ones, I mean, it's not that old, but last year's Sea of Stars, I never got around to finishing it, and I really wanted to dive headfirst into that one. Also, they're dissolved now, but I really liked what Tokyo RPG Factory was doing. I really liked I Am Setsuna. I kind of wish they were still around. I know their last game didn't get good reviews, but I don't know why. That just came to the top of my head. Also, I really wanted to get more into the Dragon Quest games, so I'm looking at the new HD re-release that's coming soon as a good point for me to possibly jump in. I think there's a lot of potential there. Also, it's JRPG adjacent, but in case you missed me talking about it in another video, Claire Obscura Expedition 33, a weird bad name for a game, but really, really cool so far. I got to preview a little bit of it, see a little work in progress of it, and it does seem really, really cool. It's by a French studio, a new studio formed by various different veterans from different studios like Ubisoft and smaller places. And what they're doing here, to me, feels very JRPG inspired, like a European take on JRPG inspiration and flair and feeling and turn-based combat, and going their own way with it. I think there's real potential there from like storytelling and characters, and they have a lot of stuff going on from the production standpoint, but from the turn-based combat and just everything going on there, and like a very traditional, straightforward adventure where you go through and battle with a party. I still really like those types of games. I mean, there's a reason why the new Final Fantasy VII remakes are a success, but I like the ideas they have going on with Expedition 33. Like I said, the character stuff, the story stuff, the world building stuff, the world and characters are like I've never really seen in that style before, and I just hope it turns out to be good. Granted, like I said, I only saw like a work in progress version of it. There's still a lot to go. It could all completely collapse, but as of right now, I'm keeping my eye on it. Also, if you are new around here, this is a Q&A video I used to do them every month. It's been a little while, got a little sidetracked, but what I do is I take questions that you guys leave in the comment section of this video. So I'm getting questions for this video from the comment section of the last Q&A video. So if you want me to answer something, anything about games, movies, pop culture, topics, stuff like that, hit me in this comment section and I'll get to them in the next one. But the next question, ASAP Bruh asks, Jake, did you ever get the red ring of death on your Xbox 360? I did, unfortunately. I had a launch Xbox 360, and I remember when that whole saga was going down and everybody was coming up with weird solutions to try and fix it. There was like suspend it from the air, wrap it in a towel, all kinds of weird dumb shit going on the early versions of the internet. But for me, it was like everyone I knew, everyone around me got the red ring of death, and I didn't. My Xbox 360 just kept on chugging, and I rubbed it in everyone's faces. I was so happy. And just when it was far enough out where I felt like I got through the red ring of death debacle, it happened to me. So if it could happen to anybody, really. And what an interesting thing looking back, just how massive and widespread of a problem that was. And I feel like the resources and everything that Microsoft and Xbox had to wrangle up to get that done, like you send it in, it gets fixed and comes back to you. That's just like a massive undertaking, a quick thing to roll out for a big corporation, which they usually move at a snail's pace because they're so big. I'm not giving them too much credit because they released a product that was like primed to fail for almost everything. everyone. Absolute dumb bullshit. But I'm just blown away that they got through it, that they survived. What a weird time. Vermin2682 asks, Jake, I've been watching you and Game Ranks for years now. Huge supporter. Thank you. But dude, I know you're a busy man, but I promise you, the diehards are going to go crazy for whenever you decide to cash in on the video essay genre and just make a bunch of videos deep diving niche things you know a lot about. Talk about Metal Gear Solid, talk about Tony Hawk games, anything. So there's a reason why I don't do video essays and that type of thing. Also, I know you say cashing in. I don't think cashing in is really the idea with video essays. I think it's actually quite the opposite. I think the successful video essays you see out there are like real quality, good work that sometimes the amount of effort and time put into it, like, you know, those creators don't really get that back in terms of like monetary gain or anything like that. It depends. Every creator is different. There are some creators out there that only put out one video essay a year or every couple of months, and then that's how they do their thing. For me, I've considered the video essay stuff before, and I've dipped my toe into it a little bit with some things I script out or come out with a little bit more notes for, but you may know this by now from watching me. I'm not like a very deep person. I'm just kind of like, I don't mean to sell myself short, but I just think there are people out there that are much better at coming up with those big, complex, well-written things. Where with me, I don't know, when I do it or when I've tried to do it, I feel like it's coming off very like, oh, look at me and my big thoughts. Why don't you listen to me? Does that make sense? For me, and I've committed to this a while ago now with like the stuff I put out on the internet, is like, I just kind of want to always be there. I want to consistently kind of be out there putting stuff out, whether it's on Game Ranks or here or wherever. I just want to be that thing that you have to watch to pass the time a little bit here and there. You know, you get a video a couple of times a week while you're watching lunch or something like that, because I watch YouTube all day and I follow creators like that, and that's what I get out of it. So I just kind of want to be that consistency thing for you, you know? One day I'll snap and go crazy and jump off of the content treadmill and then eventually make video essays once a year. But for now, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I like to do it. I like to stay busy and frequent. I'm not the one to really focus down and drill on something and work on one thing for a really long time, because I'm always jumping on the newest game, the latest and greatest thing. I like that part of it. At Karn13 says, hey Jake, with Capcom remaking older games, Devil May Cry still well loved, and something weirder like Kinitsugami being released, what do you think of a possibility of Onimusha coming back, either as remakes or a completely new Onimusha adventure? So a lot of people did miss that they re-released like an HD version of Onimusha a few years back. The first one. The first one is a very unique, very special game that I played when it released on PS2 and just jumped in and was like, whoa, what the hell is this? This is awesome. So with it coming back, I wonder. I think at the very least, you can look at, well, at least they did re-release that version of the original game, maybe as a testing ground to see how well it would do. It's been a few years now, I think, at this point, so I don't know if they're really trying to pursue anything else with the game, but at the very least, Samanosuke is in Astrobot as a little collectible guy. I don't think that really means anything, but that just made me really happy. Onimusha as a franchise, I wonder, Capcom seems to be very focused in terms of like what they're putting out, right? They're kind of hitting the big guys right now. They're hitting the big guns like Resident Evil and Monster Hunter back to back. So I am curious to see if they pull something out like this. With you mentioning Kinitsugami, that is interesting because that is a very different game for them and a smaller experience. So I almost wonder, it's good that you bring that up, maybe Onimusha could exist as a new thing, but a bit smaller, a side project thing for them. Granted, I think it's a series that deserves way more attention than that, way more effort than that, but maybe we'll see Onimusha come back eventually as something. I don't know. I'm kind of just spitballing, honestly. I honestly have no idea what they're going to do, but I'm just glad you gave me a reason to talk about Onimusha for a second. The third one, Jean Reno, that was crazy, man. Remember? What a time, man. QWERTY-ish says, all right, Jake, you've convinced me to try out Metal Gear Solid, but what method of play would you recommend for someone's first experience, especially in 2024? Should I just check out the Master Collection, or should I try emulating the game? I think if you have the option, emulate the game, specifically because the Master Collection I don't think is like the best visual representation of the game. There's nice little bells and whistles and features in it as a package, sure, but there's some things missing, and yeah, the visual quality I think leaves a lot to be desired. It's something that you can easily see massively improved just by using an emulator. So if you have that capability, you know, either the know-how or just you have a PC, whatever, I would say that's probably the way to experience it. I'm also a big fan, weirdly enough, I'm a big fan of playing it on the Vita. I was able to access it on my Vita, and yes, I know that's not like the best visual quality version, but on the smaller screen, it doesn't matter as much, and it's just nice to play on that device. Now, before we keep going on this video, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Vessi. If you're new around here, Vessi are the go-to footwear I've been recommending for quite some time now for offering good quality, dependable footwear with different shapes, colors, styles for any type of person in any type of situation. But the biggest thing with all their stuff is that it's 100% waterproof. Yes, but they don't feel like waterproof shoes. It's just a regular old sneaker, cool in the summer, warm in the winter. But because it's waterproof, you can get a little bit more adventurous. If you're going on a hike, they get muddy or wet, you rinse them right off. Maybe you live in the city, you step in a big puddle in a rainstorm, it's no big deal. That feeling is a total game changer and makes all the difference. And they're always introducing really cool new styles. Case in point, got a fresh new drop right here. Check this out. This is the Courtside Classic. It is a court-inspired shoe. It's a little sportier, a little more old school. It's got a cool design on the tongue, great soles, and I just really dig these. With all Vessis, I basically have them at my back door ready to go when I'm outside playing with my dog because he tends to get muddy. And these kicks for me have been bulletproof, so whether you're wearing them casually or out on a date or at work or on a hike, or maybe you got some hype sneakers, but you look at your phone and it turns out it's gonna rain, Vessi has you covered. So if you wanna check them out, all you gotta do is click the link in the description down below. There's a QR code here as well. You go to vessi.com/onjake. Do that and you'll get 15% off your first order at checkout. So once again, it's vessi.com/onjake for 15% off your first purchase at checkout. And again, big thanks to Vessi for sponsoring these videos. Now let's get back to it. At Brandon40 asks, Jake, I need to know, where did the pizzas on me catchphrase come from? I really love pizza. Always have. I think it's like one of the most reliable things out there. It's never going anywhere. It's never going to change. Nobody's going to take it away from you. I just love it. So I've always loved pizza. I've talked about pizza a lot online in the past, in the early days. And then, yeah, I needed like a YouTuber catchphrase back when those were still really kind of a thing for the outro. So I think I said it at like the start of like early Game Ranks videos, I believe. And it was stupid. It was cringeworthy even back when I first came out with it, but then I just kind of stuck with it. It seems like people tended to like it, so I just rolled with it, and it's fine. I think pizza's on me as a phrase is just kind of like, hey, thanks for watching. Beers later, or like I got dinner, like shit, like something like that, you know? I think the reality is I didn't put a lot of thought into it. That's the answer. At Carlos Zavala LOL, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but they ask, Jake, why do people pretend if you can't get a game online because it's delisted or it's for a last gen console, you can't play it at all? Last time I checked, physical games still exist. I think that it's a case by case basis. I think you can't blanket that and just say, hey, physical games exist, dummy. Some things you can put a physical disc in, and if it's an online game, the servers are gone. It's an online only thing, like you can't access it. So yes, it's not always that bad, that big of a deal. People do blow it up sometimes, but I think part of it actually comes from the fact that while you say, yes, physical games still exist, they are finite in a way. Prices for physical games have gone up. Games are now $70 in the United States, but also the classic game market. If you're buying a game from Nintendo to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation, all those prices of those physical games have gone up as well. The collector's market really popped off during COVID. It's kind of going back down a little bit, I believe, but that shit's expensive and they're not printing new versions of those games. So I think that's why people get a little concerned. So while yes, I think it's good to point out that like the fear mongering, like, hey, you can still access some of these games. Some of these games you can totally still play. It's fine. I don't think it's good to rest on the laurels of, hey man, physical games still exist, when the fact is those old physical games aren't going to be around forever. The corporations are trying to do whatever they can seemingly to kind of get rid of the physical game market, and ownership becoming less and less of a thing. They've been forthcoming about that. They've been pretty straight up about that. So I think it's good to be aware and pay attention and be concerned. At Redbeard Kingdom 6890 says, I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan. I hope her game actually comes out. Any hopes, wants you need in the game? So this is going to be an unpopular thing, I think, to hear for Wonder Woman fans, but like let me bring up the Zack Snyder movies for a second, and really the first Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman movie. For all their faults, and for those maybe not representing Diana and everything in your perfect way, I think the sense of power is really there. I think something about the Wonder Woman in those DC movies, when she hit something or she rocketed through a wall or she boom, you really feel the power. And I would like that in a video game. I would like it to feel really cool and satisfying to punch through a wall, to blast through a wall, to throw an enemy. You do it in a lot of games. Plenty of games you bust through a wall, no big deal. But I just want it to really feel like boom, like a real powerhouse. That's a very small thing, honestly. I'm coming into it like as more of a casual Wonder Woman fan, but I think what I am looking forward to and what I do want to see is a new interpretation of this character, because I think it's always been so exciting when a new Batman comes on the scene or a new Spider-Man comes on the scene in a video game or a movie. It's like, oh, there's a new one. There's a new version. I like some things from it. I don't like some things from it. That looks weird. They look cool. That feeling you get, like we don't always get that for some of these characters. Wonder Woman, of course, has been shown in a million billion things and different interpretations, but I'm just excited to see a big possible definitive one, like maybe something like we got for Batman in the Arkham games. Wonder Woman needs her time for something like that, you know? Medium Rare Avocado Enthusiast says, hey Jake, what do you think of game trophies and achievements? Do you collect them? What games became memorable to you due to how fulfilling and or BS the trophies were? Oh man, they say, I remember how stupidly strict the requirements for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4 Platinums were. Spent an entire 2 days repeating each segment of Metal Gear Solid 2 main story, not to add the VR missions as well. This is like the video of unpopular takes from me, but I am not a achievement hunter or a trophy collector at all. I think it's the nature of how I play games. I ping pong around. I'm always jumping in, playing the next thing, reviewing the next thing. But I was like that before I started doing this for a job. I think where I fell off, I was into achievements and gamer score the early days when that was introduced for Xbox 360. And I think that was a lot because I was playing online with friends. I was playing Halo, or really I was playing a lot of Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas. So being online with friends, like getting that gamer score up, felt a little competitive, and I wanted to do that. And I would play some games and knock out some achievements and raise that gamer score from like shitty games I didn't even really want to play, but I would rent a game and play it and blast through and try and get all those achievements to get that gamer score high. I kind of fell off after the Xbox 360 era, and I think when I started playing online a little less socially at that point on console. I do like the trophy system on PlayStation because like the Platinum just feels like such a good thing. Don't really do it, to be honest. The last one I really pursued was Spider-Man 2018, and I thought really it wasn't about any of the accomplishments that like the trophies asked of you. It was really just like, man, I like this game so much that I do want to 100% the shit out of it because it's that good. When a game just like personally clicks for you, you know, that's about the only time I'll really go for something like that. So I know some of you are going to be like, wow, he's not a real gamer, but I disagree because these things are technically new in the gaming world. We've been all playing video games for way longer than any of these things existed, and we were already true gamers. So I think it's cool and it's fun, and I have so many friends and people that love doing the trophy hunting, the achievement collecting. I love seeing the satisfaction they get out of that. Andrew, who edits these videos, is a psychopath who has gotten the platinum for every single From Software game, which... wow. I play a lot of video games. It's like all I do. It's all I think about, but that's just something I would never pursue. So I respect people who do stuff like that. It's cool. Spider Milone 0013 says, hey Jake, I'm not sure if you've talked about it yet, but what do you think of Amazon making a Yakuza or Like a Dragon show? My answer? Good luck. I know it sounds mean, but like there's something about those games that is so special and so unique that's got to be so hard to replicate. The charm of it, the way it walks the line between goofy absurdity and video game madness, and awesome, incredible melodrama and just good storytelling and compelling characters. It's so hard to walk that line, and I think that magic can only really be a thing in video games. So for an Amazon series to try and make something from that brand, it's got to either be completely different and just be really, really good on its own merits, or I don't know, because if they just try and ape the video games, I think it's going to fall flat on its face. But it seems like they're going their own way with it from what I have seen of it, but we'll just have to wait and see. Am I interested in watching it? No, not really, but maybe I'll give it a shot. So at B3 asks, hey Jake, I just had a bad experience meeting a big YouTuber. So I'm wondering, you ever run into a YouTuber or celebrity that was just a dick? I've actually had the luxury of meeting really good content creators, YouTubers, people like that. I don't post, I don't take selfies with everybody, but I've been around long enough that I've encountered and met a lot of people. It's not like a humble brag or anything. I'm not even going to name drop, but everybody is mostly really great, genuine, and just kind of like me, just kind of like happy to be here. But I've met one that is like, wow. Yeah, just kind of like a wow, like that person online is like totally different in real life. That I've learned that meeting people, they are usually how they are online, and it's cool, and it means they're genuine. But yeah, I have met somebody where I'm like, whoa, you are not like how you are on the internet. Wow. Again, though, most people are great. YouTube side, content creator side, yes, I've had the luxury of at least meeting cool people. I know some people have had bad experiences with people, but I guess I just happen to have met some good people. In terms of celebrities and stuff like that, I've been around and I've seen celebrities in real life, but I am not the type of person to ever go up and speak to one, almost ever. So I don't really have any actual experiences. I've been able to see a lot of really cool celebrities in real life that blew my mind, but never spoke to any of them, really. I'm just such a little chicken shit. At 808 Mark says, Jake, would love more content from you about movies and shows. You gonna make another channel for that or put them on here? So as you probably noticed, and if you've been subscribed to this channel for a really long time, every so often I would throw out a video about a movie or a game. And a couple of years back, I put out some ones I was really proud of, like Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins. I've done breakaway videos on the Fallout TV show most recently and stuff like that. But interestingly enough, I think because the channel is so primed to gaming, a lot of people don't click on those. A lot of people don't watch them. Either they don't care or the YouTube algorithm doesn't show them to them as much. So what I do now, if some of you have noticed, this is my tricky, sneaky way of doing it. The Wednesday news show I do on this channel now, every Wednesday, I talk about 2 news topics I find interesting. I usually squeeze in a little bonus thing at the end and just talk about something else I really enjoy. That's where I kind of fit in that content. Last week, I talked about Beetlejuice because I just love the original Beetlejuice so much. I also recently talked about Terminator Zero, the Netflix Terminator anime, which I found really good, really introspective, a humanity, but also just cool as hell from a Terminator 1 inspired standpoint, but in Japan. So I'm kind of for now, I'm just sneaking in that stuff where I can, fitting it around games. Also, Chuck Partin 6238 says, this one is either bullseye or way out in left field. Does Metal Gear Awesome live in your head rent free? I have a suspicion you are also a child of the Newgrounds era. All I can say is cryptic metaphor. Yeah, man, so that was a lot of questions. So if you want me to answer your question for next video, drop it down here in this comment section. Video games, movies, the industry, anything, life at all, advice, hit me up. I love talking about stuff. Anything interesting, anything new, stuff in headlines, anything at all, hit me up. It's a good way to talk about stuff I wouldn't normally cover in other videos. So hit me up, but let me know what you think about all my weird hot takes down in the comments. Also, I'd love to hear from you. But if you stuck around watching me yap for this long in this type of video, thank you for being here. I'm just kind of talking about stuff I love, stuff I find interesting. So yeah, clicking the like button helps, but that's it. Now I'm going to say that corny catchphrase outro thing I mentioned before. Pizza's all me. Subscribe because video games. See ya.